and welcome back to Piper House. Watch as I change my shoes into something better for lugging things. I apologize, we missed our video last week. Things have been very hectic and no real work has been done on the house other than this sort of thing. Dropping off bits and bobs, dropping off tools, dropping off things to make our life easier as we work on the house. But this has been an incredibly busy and hectic few weeks. It was also Highland Games season here. We had to set up at the Antigonish Highland Games. Here is the van packed to the rafters. My stepdaughter Joy was up visiting from the States. She had just finished her week at the Gaelic College, and here she is at her very, very first Highland dance competition. This was very, very exciting for Matt and I. After Antigonish, we went back to the city for a few days before driving her to the border to meet her mom. This is us in St. John, New Brunswick. Back to Piper House. We had a whole bunch of people donate some things to us, which was really, really great. And so Matt is just sort of dropping everything off, trying to find space for it because we definitely don't have space for it in our apartment currently. And there's no room for it in our apartment is woodworking. He usually does it in our parking lot and has to move his whole setup anytime one of the neighbors wants to park their cars. His brother had cut down these trees in Cape Breton. It's ash wood, and his brother had milled the wood himself. Matt is taking those milled pieces of wood and cutting them and sanding them and routering them and bringing them back to me so that I can then engrave them. It's a fairly labor-intensive process, but the outcome is just so nice. And I really like how they turned out. So he brought all these back to me and I engraved them and gave them all a varnish and finished them all up. And they look really, really great in my opinion. Here's the finished product at our display at the Highland Games. I have a variety of different sizes and some different sayings and things. Almost all of them are Scottish Gaelic, Sláinte meaning cheers, Fáilte meaning welcome, and Ciad Mil Fáilte meaning 100,000 welcome. We're back on the road to the Fredericton Highland Games. Here is our setup at the Highland Games, and all of this stuff will eventually be in that front room in Piper House, which I cannot wait for that. But let's switch gears here for just a minute and head to Cape Breton. This is Matt's family home for the last 20-something years, the house that they would visit in the summer, the house that they would spend Christmas at, his mom, his brother, his niece and nephew. This was the house originally like 100 years ago. We had gone in a few years ago to renovate some of the rooms, fix them up. There was wallpaper everywhere, lots of cracks that needed to be filled. So we decided to take on the task of redoing the house room by room. We wanted to eventually Airbnb it, and that is still our hopeful goal. But in the meantime, we had been redoing each room, taking long weekends and going up and doing all kinds of work and picking out paint colors and doing all the things. In the midst of this, though, we discovered that there was major structural issues to the foundation, and the whole house needed to be lifted and a new foundation put in, which means that Matt had to go and tear down all the chimneys from the inside of the house, which is not an easy task at all, by the way. And it took a very long time, and it was very hard, dusty, dirty work. A few weeks ago, they arrived and started lifting the house, and here it is up on the risers. So strange to see a whole house Jenga towered like this, but they did. And then, of course, Matt fell off a ladder, and he is okay, but pretty banged up after that. But the house was up, the foundation was put in, and now here is the brand new foundation. The holes that you see out to the outside, those are where the steel beams were, so they're going to come and fill those in. But it's pretty interesting. The only way to get up into the main part of the house is the ladder, which obviously makes me nervous at this point, but he made it. Here we are going into the actual house, and all of the work that we did in this house now needs to be fixed, basically. But that's okay. It is really just some drywall and some paint and some plaster and some mud, which we can do. but that's okay. As you can see in the sunroom here, a lot of the walls have separated from the ceiling, but again, we can fix that. This is where the wood stove was and the chimney. Have to figure out what to do there. This is one of the rooms that we had fully finished. And so as you can see, lots and lots of cracks to fill. But that's, again, okay, because at least the foundation is now okay. The mud room, also one of the rooms we had fully finished. He had to just tear this wall out to get the chimney out, and more cracks to fill. But again, that's totally fine. We can handle that. And then heading upstairs again, we hadn't actually done much work up here except for tear down wallpaper. This is his mom's bedroom, and this obviously needs a major structural repair. Here you can see we had already torn the wallpaper down but hadn't done anything. And so lots of cracks, but that's okay. And landscaping, clearly. But here it is now. The house is on the foundation. Matt is still there currently, putting dimple board up around the foundation, but it is done, and we can finally refocus back to Piper House. Obviously lots of work still to do in Bedeck, but Piper House now has to be our focus. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I promise there will be way more Piper House content coming in the very near future.